Hello and assalamu alaikum. So we are back to our C++ course class, and today we are going to study about else if else, multiple if conditions, and at the end we will discuss some about something new. So let's start with simple if conditions, and we will mainly discuss the difference between multiple if condition, if else, and if else if conditions. So let's begin. So first of all, as we discussed in the previous lecture, we will discuss the same code in the beginning. So first of all, we have declared two numbers a and b, and we will give them multiple values such as a has 1 and b has 9. So if first condition is if a plus b is greater than n, see out winner, else lose. Now we will change the else, and first we will discuss the multiple if conditions. If sum is equal to 10, sum is sum is e- equal to 10, see out loser. And sorry, we have not declared sum, so I will write a plus b. A plus b is equal to 10, then C out is equal to loser. Okay, and if the sum of a plus b is greater than 10, then C out winner. But if we change the condition here and write it greater than or equal to 10, then what would happen? Let's see. By running the code, we are going to run it, and let's see what comes, winner or loser. And look, winner and loser. So it, it is telling us that the both of the conditions are becoming true. That's why winner is also coming and loser is also showing as output. So why then we should use multiple if conditions? It is basically used in a case when we have to run all the conditions to check how many times the condition is becoming true, and we have to count out those conditions that are showing true. Okay, and if we have only find to check true or false, whether the condition is fulfilling or not, then we use if else. Now we will try this situation with else if. Now if the first situation would remain same, and the second one would become else if. Okay, now we would run the same code and check what is the output. Basically we will meet the concept what is going on with the if and multiple if and else if conditions. What is the difference basically in them? So we are going to run the code, and in the terminal the output is coming, and look, winner. So this was the basic thing I was saying, that in multiple else if conditions, if if a condition is becoming true previously, then the compiler doesn't go to the next condition to check whether they are true or false. The compiler ends the code at that point where the first condition is fulfilled. Okay, so it was basically else if. We can use it by making multiple conditions. Just like I can give you example that whenever in any place, when you are playing a game, you click a button for a specific task. If you there also is running behind an else if code behind that game, where the code tells the compiler that if this button is clicked, do that specific task, but if the other button is clicked, do the other specific task. Okay, that's the basic difference. And if you are clicking that multiple times, do that purpose multiple times. Just like the multiple if condition, when the code is outed multiple times, while just like in a car game, when you are clicking the brake button again and again, the brakes are applied again and again, where multiple if condition is being used, so that whenever the condition is being fulfilled in the condition, that code should be run. So basically that is this is the difference. Okay, so this was the basically we wanted to discuss else if and if else conditions. So another thing I wanted to share, that in this course we will discuss basically all the functions and basically the variable, data types, loops, arrays, and all the things first. After that, we will implement all of these things in our basic project, or you could say anything, in which we will implement all these and make a software that could do multiple tasks. Okay, so first we will all only learn how to manage this code. So now we are moving a little bit forward with the introduction to loops. We will not discuss completely about loops in this class, but we will do it in the next one. Okay. So a loop is basically used to check a condition or do any specific task multiple times until the condition becomes false or until you want. So basically I will first write as the syntax of using a loop, and first of all we will discuss for loop. After that we will do while loop. Okay, so first of all we will make a for loop, and this is the syntax: for making a variable int I is equal to 0, I is less than 10, I plus plus. What is the meaning of this syntax? So first of all we will discuss about it. Basically, the meaning of it is that in the loop there is a variable I whose value is initially 0 declared. Okay, and until its value becomes 10, which means lesser than 10, I is lesser than 10, increment its value after the implication of the procedure in that is being discussed in the given below brackets. Okay, so let's do it. See out. And we will, what can we see out? Let's see out any statement. This is my first loop. This is our see out statement. So first of all we will run this code and see the output. What would be the output? In the terminal there comes the output. uh, yeah, you can see that this is my first loop. It is printed 9 times but in a row, but if we put here an end line, that is could be look more better. So now we will look. End L means in the end of line, it would go to new line whenever the end line is called. Look, it is printed 9 times. What we said? Sorry, I think it is 10 times because we initialized I 0. When I is 0, and it will be incremented till 10 times until its value is less than 10. So until the value of I goes from 0 to 9, the statement will be printed that times. Okay, you can also use to uh, you can also use this to print some numbers incrementing, just like this. We'll do number is equal to inverted commas, then I. Now what would happen? Sorry, one and L would also come, and L. Okay, now let's see what would be the output. Running the code, you should think before what should be the output. Look, number 0, number 1 until number 9. This was basically incrementation. Now we would one time see how incrementation is implemented in while loop. Okay. In while loop, we will just declare the condition in using the while loop, and the increment will be done in the implementation statement. This could be say less int I is equal to 10. Okay. Then we will come below. While loop syntax will be entered while I is, let's say i's value is equal to 0, I is equal to I is less than 10. Its implication statement inside the curly brackets would come while I is less than 10. See out number is equal to I. Okay, and at the end we will increment the value of I. Now we will run the code. This would also give the same output as the for loop code. Okay, let's see it. And sorry, again we didn't enter the endl. This would tell you how important is sometimes the endl, that minimizes many complications and confusions. That's where it is very necessary. So now we would check once again, and there is it. This time it is correct. So this was basically for loop and while loop. So this was what was for today. Today we discussed completely else, if else, multiple if conditions, and basic information about for and while loop. We will briefly discuss more complex situations related to for and while loops in the next class. So till then, it's goodbye and Allah Hafiz.